Today, I'm on a mission to transform every structure in Minecraft. And why, you ask? Well, it's because I've always thought Minecraft structures were a bit lacking in the most important departments as far as builds go. So we're gonna change that today. So the first build we have is the Pillager Outpost. Although this wasn't too much of an upgrade, the builds later in this video get insane, so make sure to stick around. Let's speed run through the next few builds. The desert well is honestly so useless. The ruin portal was good, but it could look better. I mean, seriously, the dungeon is so bad. Now, we will do my most anticipated structure so far, the shipwreck, which I really think I can do justice for. So I put the boat in the air and scaled it up, going through and adjusting angles and getting rid of things that didn't make sense, like stairs on stairs. I added some more color to the boat and wanted to make these sort of intricate designs on the sides. After I built the masts and used Axiom to rotate the ship on its side, again, going through and cleaning it up. Then I put the ship in the water, making the sails tattered, and then placing a rock that put the hole in the ship. After that, I put some vines and leaves and seaweed on it for the finishing touches. The shipwreck turned out great. I especially like the sails, with the gradient and how it looks wet. Now, let's get on to some more builds. I decided to do the igloo next, but didn't make the basement part. Now we do the treasure chest, which isn't much, but I did what I could come up with. So for the jungle temple, I really went with the design inspired by Chichen Itza and other Mayan temples. I also made the interior decorated with booby traps and treasure. Although it could be bigger and more grand, I think this is fine. It's time for the next build though. Although this isn't a structure technically, I think the Mushroom Island really deserved a transformation. Now, we will transform the villages, starting with the plains. First off, we put all of these houses in the air and terraform the ground a bit. Then I go through and transform each village structure. I sort of made an English design inspired village for this one. Then we just copy and paste the houses around, clean up the terrain, and make the paths and add some greenery. I also decided to make this fishing house here on the edge of the lake as a finishing touch. I'm very happy with how it turned out. Next off is the Taiga Village. So first off, we get the buildings in the sky, and I had to build some in this time that weren't in the village. Then we transform, and honestly, I didn't have a real lifestyle I could really connect this village to. So I just went with whatever I could come up with. I just made sure to stay true to the style. And honestly, I like this village more than the last. So now we are doing the Savannah Village, And we start with taking the vanilla builds off of the ground and transforming them. For this, I wanted a more African, tribal-inspired build. So like the original, I used more of the warm colors and the sort of wood and terracotta houses like you'd see. After that, I placed the houses onto the area, and I did it in sort of clumps, like actual African tribal villages. Then I placed a bunch of farms and greenery around. Now, the desert village. As always, we get the buildings in the air, and then we terraform. After that, we transform the houses, which have an Old West and Puebloan style. Then I placed all the houses down and added extra little details around. The snowy village is next, and we bring all of the houses over closer to the location of the village. For the house transformations, I just used the A-frame and gambrel style for the roofs and made the igloo similar to the actual igloo structure. Then we place the houses down on either side of this frozen river and connect them with a bridge. And the final touch is putting a forest around it. So here is the abandoned village. And for the transformation, we need the houses from the Plains village. So let's go get them and bring them here. Now they're here, and I've started changing them. Basically, what I did was make the stone more rough with cracked versions and mossy versions. I also made each wood type the shade darker. So birch became oak, oak became spruce, and spruce became dark oak. With this trick, I used to show rot and aging in wood. Then I just litter it all with holes and cobwebs. We get rid of the original village and place the buildings down in the same fashion as the original Plains village, before overgrowing the paths and putting a ton of tall grass and trees around. I am so proud of how these villages turned out. I mean, they all look so much more detailed and so much, like, cozier. I was a little disappointed, though, because I didn't get to build things like a cherry village or jungle village. But maybe I will. Not now, though. Let's speedrun some more smaller builds. Surprise! Some of you may remember that the mineshaft originally didn't get a proper video. But I retransformed it, and I hope you guys like it. Honestly, I just like the Trail Ruins vanilla structure. And it's the only vanilla structure I outright just don't like at all. I did my best to sort of make it better, but I was a bit rusty, having just taken a break from Minecraft for around a month. I was a bit unsure of what to really do for the witch hut, but I'm pretty happy with what I came up with. I didn't make it too grandiose, and it's definitely better than the original crap. Now, the Woodland Mansion. I started off with the first floor. Here, we're going to build a 3x3 piston door. Now the door is done, and it is fully functioning. After this, I continued to work on the first floor, then the second and third. For each floor, I made sure to copy the original layouts. After the building was done, I just carved an area out of the land and moved it down. I really like the Woodland Mansion, and especially my version. What do you guys think? Did I do it justice? I take the ocean ruins as a sort of dead civilization that got flooded, like Atlantis. And I really wanted to represent that these were houses more, and this was a sort of shrine in the center. And while we're on the ocean, let's do the ocean monument. I moved the original ocean monument into the air and then started the reconstruction. Off the bat, I made it bigger. I kept the leveled pyramid shape for the outside, and then I began work on the bottom pillars and details. I wanted a lot of the runes and rings, especially using gold, since it's a temple. Then I used the same process as I did for the Woodland Mansion to do the interior. Then all I had to do was place it in the ocean and waterlog it. I was so excited to do this build, especially since it was my biggest transformation in the original series years ago, and seeing how much my skill improved is great. And now for the fossil. I know the fossil is really a nothing burger structure and is extremely boring. So I wanted to turn it up about 300 notches, as you can see. So the desert temple is a great structure, but I really like it already, so I didn't do much to it. So I built up the main pyramid structure and made the pillars on the outside, adding more detail to them. Then I made the front and side entrances and made hieroglyphs on the sides. I made the top floor a tomb, and then did the regular hole for the floor on the bottom. And the next build is the trial chamber. So, the first room of the trial chambers is done, and what we need to do now is work on the entrance door. So now we have the entrance door done, and it's this 3x3 piston door, which I honestly really like. And I really don't understand why Mojang didn't just make this a 3x3 piston door anyways, considering that's sort of what it looks like. So the first room here is a mural and a fountain room. I really want the trial chambers to still have the same air as the original, but they need to be bigger and feel much more grand. This here is sort of a leveled rest area for players. Up top here, I put a leveled trial room. I think these longer rooms are sort of self-explanatory. They're hallways. This room was a real challenge to make. It's way more of a maze room. All the different pieces and floors had me confused, but in the end, I was able to get. This room and the next are sort of like pseudo boss rooms, ultimately leading up to the boss room. I thought of this going into it as being so much bigger and much more grand, so see for yourself. I incorporated aspects from all of the other rooms. This is one of my favorite builds that I ever transformed. I mean, just look at it. Now, let's move on to an even bigger underground structure. The ancient city. So first, I moved the ancient city into the air and got rid of all of the deep slate surrounding it. First, I worked on the central portal structure. Then the walkway and the pillars in front of it. Then I went through and made all the walls that branch off of the ancient city, making sure to make them ruined and cracked. After the walls were finished, I went through and transformed the buildings, starting with the towers. Then I made the collapsed wool houses. After that, I made the assortment of collapsed deep slate structures and pasted them around. Then I made the miniature portal and some of the other various structures, making sure to spread them appropriately. Now this part is where I had the most trouble. I outlined the cave shape using yellow wool and extended the walls upward. I used Axiom's smear and extend tools to get it all filled in without much trouble. Then I went through and covered up the roof using the Axiom sculpt and smooth tools to get a rough terrain shape to make the cave look way more natural and cavey. And the last thing to do was go through and add in the skulk. Then I just placed it back underground. This has to be my favorite build so far. It is genuinely stunning, and I actually can't believe that I built this. And now, the final overworld structure. The stronghold. So first, I put the stronghold in the air and got rid of all of the deep slate surrounding it. Then I dissected the build and separated the major rooms from the hallways. Then I went through and transformed every different type of room. My favorite being the library, which I made have multiple levels. Then I made hallways and sprawled them out, connecting up the rooms. I did the best I could. Then I made the portal room, which I didn't want to make all too grand, but I think I really needed a good upgrade. I wanted to half emulate a cathedral interior here. Then I went through and used worldedit to replace parts of the stone bricks with mossy and cracked versions. Then I put the deep slate back around it and put it back underground. This is such an upgrade to the original stronghold. It just feels much more like people were actually here, and the more like where you'd expect to find the portal to the final boss. And now every overworld structure has been transformed. and it's time to head to the Nether. So now we're in the Nether, and let's get the one smaller build out of the way. I know I already did the Ruined Portal, but I wanted to make this other unique version in the Nether. But now, let's go to the Nether Fortress. We start on the Nether Fortress over an open lava lake, building the main tower. I made sure to add lots of depth to it. Then I made the interior. Then we move on to the next tower, which is the Blaze Tower. I made sure to connect them. I made the third tower, which I like to call the Forge. This is the Fortress Prison. Now, we just connect everything using nether bridges, which I made spiral staircase towers for the major elevation changes. That is the Nether Fortress, which looks awesome and gives off such a menacing vibe. I mean, imagine coming up on this. Now, on to the last and next Nether build, the Bastion. I've got this big lava lake prepared, so let's get started and get an outline. Now, I know I don't usually outline builds, but I wanted to show you how this is inspired by a real-life bastion. So the first tower I made the treasure room in the bottom, and I made walkways going all the way up the sides. Then I made broken bridges going across. Next we go to the smaller tower, which has prisons in the bottom and storage in the upper levels, connected by bridges. Then we do exterior, which has these support pillar-esque designs. And I also did the bridge in the middle. So I took a break and I've come back to the build, but it just doesn't seem right. Not the larger tower anyways. You see, the larger tower is bigger on the inside in the original Bastion, and that just doesn't sit right with me, because my builds are supposed to be bigger and better, but they're not. So let's go. So I made the interior the same size as the original, but made it taller to fit in my design. I just used the treasure spot in the center and the bridges from the other one I made. Then I added chests and lanterns to finish up the interior. And now, I know I just messed up the entire planned layout, but I think it'll be better like this, since the tower is bigger. Then I did the exterior on the new tower, which is the same design concept. Then we work on the outer bridges, which have a more fortified and stronger design when compared to the Nether Fortress. Then we put bridges on the smaller tower, and the finishing touches is this sort of square lava thing from the original, which I honestly thought looked pretty good. And the bastion is complete. It looks great, and this is absolutely the best nether build. The bigger tower was a good call from me. Now we are done with the nether dimension, and we need to move on to the end, which I'm with the majority when I say that the end needs an update. This dimension is just so incredibly boring. This one is genuinely so bad for what it is. I started by sectioning the end island into rings like how the outer island generates. I transformed the return portal and then added chains between the middle and first ring. After that, I also put runes between some of the chains. Then I used Axiom's Shatter tool to make this sort of broken and scaly look with obsidian across the entire island. I made the end crystal pillars next, and I wanted them to be more magical, having rings around them and glowing, but also floating. I put them around the island. The next part I saw in a video by a fellow creator named Calven, so credit to him. I put a magical band of runes around the island, and the symbols are the standard galactic alphabet. Then I made the end gateways. Lastly, I made rocks and pasted them around. They are crystals that grow from the cracks, made of purple and amethyst. Now we get on to the end city. At first, I didn't know what to do, but decided to go with the Shinden Zukuri Japanese architectural style, and made it float while being mirrored on itself. This is the main building. I moved into the interior, which for all parts aren't too special. Then I made a smaller building branching off and made a unique bridge. Then I connected it to two smaller builds. I also incorporated torii gates into this build quite a bit. Then I made another branch going out of the side. And I understand that the end city isn't symmetrical, but I'm making mine symmetrical because I think it looks good. Now, the main city is done, and it's come out great. I haven't built in this style for a really long time, honestly, and I'm happy with it. But now, let's get on to the ship. I made the ship have the same design, sort of tight. I designed it after a Chinese junk ship. I also made sure it still had all the interior elements from the original and didn't add sails, since the original doesn't have them either. Then I made a dock with a torii gate. And the video was gonna end here, but my boyfriend gave me some good ideas. He said I should make the ground under the end city like the ground at the end island, and I really liked that idea, so as you can see, I did it. After which I made another magic ring at the bottom of the main tower in the end city, which is what holds the city up in the air and is how it floats. This finishes the transformation of every Minecraft structure. Out of all builds, this one was the most polar. It started bad, but ended up being one of the best. And finally, after a few months of work, here we go. The structures are finally complete. I love every single one of my builds. Granted, I do have favorites. What are your guys' favorite builds from this video? This series was so loved, so I figured I'd make it into its own full video, so it's easier to see all the transformations in a timely manner. This series has really shown me that I can do something with my YouTube if I really put the effort in, and I am willing to do that. I love making these videos, and I love entertaining people. It's something that I've always been passionate about since I was like 9 years old, and this has really shown me what it takes to do it. The support since I started the series has been crazy, and my channel has exploded in growth, literally like it never has before. A random video was maybe 50, and this year I've gone up almost 200 so far. And I'm sorry for the rant. I just felt like I needed to really talk about this at the end of this video, because this is a new chapter for my channel. Get ready for more amazing time lapses and videos in the future. I have so many great things planned, so many good ideas, and if you join the Discord, you may even get a sneak peek. Link in the description. Now, leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And, as always, have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye!